I still got the headphones in my ear right now, and I turned them off. Hopefully, it could be heard. I haven't done a video, godly, in months. Um, I was having a conversation dealing with feminism, right? So here it is, feminism, which somehow it led from a biblical conversation over to feminism, and the reason it did was because, of course, I was talking to a group of people in which females were a part of the conversation, and the conversation turned into a what we should do to a what we should feel like, and you never get to the thing, the actual conversation, because the conversation and how it makes people feel is more important than the actual conversation itself. It switches from the fact, well, many of facts actually, of how men and women are dealing with each other right now. And not really right now, so to speak, because I'm from a city where the feminist movement was a actual big thing. So much, it was so big that that it piggybacked off of the oppression that unfreed slaves. So it was Frederick Douglass up in the same situation. It was Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony. And it was a conversation where there was an oppression, and then the oppression went from enslaved people, both men, women, and children, to what these white women felt like they were oppressed by. And we were all oppressed by the same person, same people. Wealthy, rich, white men. So with that, it came to be, well, why do you think that, you are saved biblically? And it went to Jesus, but it went to how the letters of Paul spoke about Jesus and what he was teaching. But it never went to the Gospels ever of Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, which is crazy because the way Jesus Christ explains himself in the Gospels, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus is not the one to play with at all. Like Jesus, like it was socially awkward because the world was so easy on the inclusiveness of everything, and Jesus was not that guy. Jesus, he didn't care about the inclusiveness until you included his father, and his father gave you rules and regulations in which to abide by. Then he gave his rules and regulations to people that was called to be unto him. The same people who we be pro towards, the same people who in many different countries are ahead of what people see and hear on a regular basis, which is crazy. And so the women say, "Oh no, I'm saved, I'm saved, I'm saved," and I'm looking at these women talking about the doctrine of being saved so much that the salvation was only unto the people that God had chose, and then you try to put Jesus as God until you start talking about the law, and then the law gets separated. It's not Jesus' law, and they try to bring, oh well, Jesus' law said, to love and But if Jesus is God, then God is the same one, and Jesus is the same one that spoke about the laws and choosing people and having enemies and things like that. It gets to be separated. Whenever you want to, you get to make Jesus weak when you want him to be weak, and strong when you want him to. These women that we was talking to, or having conversations with and building with, all of these women are unmarried with children. Wild as fuck. And I'm pretty much the only dude with kids and married. And not to like big myself up, because that's a different story, but not the point. The point is, we're talking about being saved through Jesus unto God, but then Jesus is God at the same time. Jesus was God on the earth. Jesus is God now that he's in heaven. Jesus is just God. And that's just weird. It's weird to me because it's easy to me. I have children, and my children are not me. My children are my children. Now, will they have facets that deal with me and that are agreeable with me, things that I teach to my children? Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, they're an individual. And if I send that individual to do something that was unto me and they do it, I sent them and they obeyed it. It's not them being me. It's not my sons. It's not my children being me. They're just relaying behavior or a message or both to someone else. That does not make them the same. I mean, if I'm going to do that, then you're going to have to pair up Jesus being God and being siblings to his other brothers and sisters. Were they all doing the same thing? No. I mean, that will have to put everybody on the parallel that belongs to me as the Father. So it wouldn't just be the Jesus that was called for. It will also have to be the brothers and the sisters of Jesus. It will also have to be the mother of Jesus. It will also have to be the mother. It will have to be everybody up under me. And that's just weird because that's just not how stuff works. And what was being done in the conversation is that you were putting mythological things together. And while doing that, you were making it a reality. And the reality is, ma'am, sir, ma'am, if you have children and you're not married, and then you're going to talk about how Jesus saved you, I thought the man saved you. That man that you seduced oh so nicely, because that's where a woman's power comes from, in my opinion. And biblically speaking, that's how it comes between a man and a woman, is the woman's power to seduce, and the man who she's seducing has the resources that can benefit her. Well, for, I don't know, maybe the 1930s, maybe forever, especially when you're talking about the art of slavery and how it worked. The men were only supposed to give the accessory, which was the child. It was never really about marrying and being a family. But yet a family was being brought to an existence between a mother and a child. And that was through biblical doctrine, or it was through doctrine that they try to make biblical by using scriptures or whatnot. But these women and men would say, oh, well, I wanted children and God blessed me with children. Wait, God blessed you with children? Hey, so hey, where's your kid? Oh, well, yeah, I paid child support for it. Wait, that's not a God-like move. I don't see God doing something wild like that. That's wild. I don't see God. And oh, you got children too? Oh, where's your husband? Are you married to their father? Oh, no, I got 4 kids. Oh, by the same dude. Well, there was one case, but most cases were multiple mothers and multiple fathers. God don't operate like that. And when he does, especially when it comes to men, in those times biblically, they had multiple wives. Not women that they cheated with and had, children outside of their biblical, lawful marriages. It was people who you was married to. And that's just so wild to me. Because people will put God in this way of like this magic lamp that you rub on some Aladdin shit. And then he'll just grant the wish for you. But meanwhile, you're having problems with the mother or the father of the children. You're having problems with the children themselves because there's only one parent. There's no balance inside the house. And balance comes in many different ways. It comes in finances. It comes in spiritual. It comes in psychological. It comes in physical. It's very superior what a family does. And families are so important that you have a race of people right now that are claiming a family and get acquitted of accusations that are detrimental. Like they put R. Kelly, Bill Cosby in jail for what these guys have done, and yet there are guys that are of the biblical family. I'm being as gracious as I possibly can without speaking so much. Part of a biblical family that they claim and then do the same things, and these guys are out scot free. Free. You locked up a 70-year-old man. You locked up a man who has made music so much his life and his world that it brought in through the love messages, through his phone, through his songs, and through his sexual connotations. It brought so many kids forth in a community to where it was torn down in the first place. I'm talking about R. Kelly at this point. And it's crazy because R. Kelly, as far as like R&B goes, you cannot surpass him at all with so-called baby making music or rhythm and blues R&B. You can't do it. And they still found a way to lock this dude up. But yet there's a family of the Bible that a guy adheres to, doing the same thing to not only adults but children as well, and having ties with different publications, different media groups, different distribution centers who have all been involved with the same thing. So much so you go on the internet and you're talking about Diddy. Man, fuck Diddy. Fuck all that shit. That's light work compared to the blueprint to it. And the blueprint to it came way before a Diddy or a 1990s R&B and hip hop, before a record label understood what street teams were, before any of that stuff, before you would get like young black men and women out of these HSBCs. Hold on. No, HBCUs, I'm sorry. Kind of on one right now. But anyway, before you would get all these HBCU students and graduates who were really supposed to be like doctors and lawyers and things of that nature, which some have made it, but not all of them, be it their study or not, but were supplanted in a movement to get a certain realm of people to be involved in certain realms of lifestyles that were detrimental to their own people, and they benefited from it. It was like the W.E.B. Du Bois, like Talented 10th. Well, the talented 10th, the educated, is supposed to educate the 90%. Well, the 90% don't give a fuck what you're talking about, because the 90% is not going to benefit the same way that the 10% are, because the 10% get to slightly rub elbows with the people who they get power from. So no, salvation is wild, biblically, because it's only to one people, and that's it. The other people don't get saved to worship and all that stuff without a consequence, because those other people, their family lineage had the ties into dealing with that biblical family. And non-white Christians have a huge problem, especially non-white Christian women, to where the feminism gets to make the emotion a reality, but the logic a fallacy in the eyes of social, to where you're understanding something, but as soon as tears drop and excuses are made, we get to like excuse stuff that's happening. And everybody's distracted from this rap battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and these guys are on the same label, making the label money, and the people who own the label are also tied to the biblical chosen people. Short, but I'm out. Peace.